उपविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्.
Anashrita karma phalam means we are not expecting any happiness from the work we are doing, but we are doing whatever to be done. Whatever comes on our way, we are doing it. We do it very well. Because what happens is that when the desire is eliminated, we understand that the happiness does not come from the external world. Happiness is our birthright. It is always there in our soul. The moment we leave the desire, we become happy. So with that happiness, we do everything. So will he not automatically become anashrita karma phalam? Such a person who has known that my happiness is not depending on anything from the external world. I am happy from within. The happiness is in my soul, in my atma. I am happy doing this or not doing this. Now, such a person, when he does something, will he expect happiness from there? He will do whatever to be done. Sometimes he will be successful, sometimes he will not be successful also. So he will not be worried about his success. If he feels that it has to be done, he will try to do it. And it may become successful, it may not become successful also. But he will do it to his best. And because he is not worried about the success or failure, he will do it in his best mindset. The performantial excellence will be maximum there. Will it not be? So Bhagavad Gita is not talking about the external phala of our work. Action will produce its result. That nobody can prevent it. Any action means it is cause and effect chain. If we take food, the hunger will be satiated. If you take wrong food, that stomach will go bad. It is all causally related. If you sleep, you will feel restful. If you don't sleep, you will not feel restful. These are all causally related. Any action in the world, there will be a cause and effect. We cannot change that at all. So the phala to be rejected is our happiness, linking our happiness with that result. That has to be abandoned. Phala tyaga means that. That is why he says a person who has done this phala tyaga, anashrita karma phalam, who does not take refuge under this karma phala and does everything, karyam karma karoti yaha, who does everything, whatever to be done, whatever comes on its way. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. He is the yogi, he is the sannyasin. Why he is saying he is the yogi? Because yoga he has defined as siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. That is the karma yoga of Bhagavad Gita. That one who is equal to siddhi and asiddhi. That doesn't mean that he will not work for success, the objective success of the world. But he will not look for any happiness from there. Because happiness is an internal coordinate. He doesn't have to get it from outside. And why is he a sannyasin? Because he does everything as a part of the nature. His personality is a small speck in the whole universe. As the universe is functioning, his personality with its own qualities and characteristics, that also is functioning. So by that knowledge that I have nothing to do, I am not the doer, the body mind, guna guneshu vattanta iti mattvana sajjate, 3rd chapter. That it is the gunas of Prakriti which is functioning, that is functioning through my personality also. So 6.1 and 2 and 3.4, these are important. In the first one, 3.4, sannyasa is used in the usual local societal sense, what people think to be sannyasa. In 6.1 and 2, He has used the sannyasa in its real sense as in Bhagavad Gita. No, he says sa sannyasi cha yogi cha, both are the same. Actually, ultimately everything is same. Naishkarmya is same, desirelessness is same, surrender is same, samatva is same. Everything will come down to the same thing. Arjuna uvacha
Arjuna uvacha
sannyasasya mahabaho
Sannyasasya mahabaho
tattvamicchami veditum
Tattvamicchami veditum
Tyagasya cha hrishikesha
Tyagasya cha hrishikesha
Prithakkeshi nishudana
Prithakkeshi nishudana
Shri Bhagavan uvacha
Shri Bhagavan uvacha
Kamyanam karmanam nyasam
Kamyanam karmanam nyasam
Sannyasam kavayo viduhu
Sannyasam kavayo viduhu
Sarva karma phalatyagam
Sarva karma phalatyagam
Prahustyagam vichakshanaah
Prahustyagam vichakshanaah
Tyajyam doshavadityeke
Tyajyam doshavadityeke
Karma prahurmanishinah
Karma prahurmanishinah
Yajnadana tapah karma
Yajnadana tapah karma
Natyajyamiti chapare
Natyajyamiti chapare
Nishchayam shृणु me tatra
Nishchayam shृणु me tatra
Tyage bharata sattama
Tyage bharata sattama
Tyago hi purusha vyaghra
Tyago hi purusha vyaghra
Trividha samprakirtitah
Trividha samprakirtitah
Yajnadana tapah karma
Yajnadana tapah karma
Natyajyam karyam eva tat
Natyajyam karyameva tat
Yajño danam tapaschaiva
Yajño danam tapaschaiva
Pavanani manishinam
Pavanani manishinam.
See, in other chapters also, while presenting the truth, Krishna generally presents the general idea. He by nature is a great person of synthesis. The whole Bhagavad Gita is a great synthesis of all kinds of pursuits, particularly so-called the jnana, karma, bhakti, yoga, everything. So, in his synthesis, first he describes, some people say that, some people say this, another group of people say like that. Then he says what he has to say about it. So here, after Arjuna's question that I would like to know the essence of both the terms sannyasa and tyaga. This we have discussed yesterday. He says, Kavayo viduhu. That means kavayaha, that means the kavis, they say. Kavi means actually the Krantadarshi, actual meaning is Krantadarshi, those who can see the truth in a way. But in general, Kavi is used as those who are scholarly people also, the Panditas in that sense. He says that generally the Kavis say that Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam Sannyasam. What is sannyasa? They define sannyasa as Kamya Karma Tyaga. Nyasam means abandoning. Tyaga and nyasa, they are same. Nyasa, sannyasa, that sannyasa has come from samyak nyasa. Nyasa means abandoning, renouncing. Samyak nyasa means the absolute, very well renunciation. Samyak means which is done very well. Now, any renunciation we do, until we renounce our ego, it does not become a real true renunciation. So sannyasa, in actually it means renunciation of the ego, that we have discussed yesterday. But generally, as we said, the usual Vividisha sannyasa yesterday he explained, that people take to this lifestyle and leaving the usual household life, profession, wealth, everything, to pursue the goal of becoming a real sannyasin, that is renouncing the ego. Finally, one has to renounce the ego. Otherwise, just by external renunciation, he doesn't become a real sannyasin. So, it has come from samyak nyasa, means when it is completely given, that you know that I am not possessing anything at all. I don't do anything. I do not do anything, like that also is not there. Whatever the body, mind, personality, it is a part of nature, it is going on doing like the other things, as the planets are running around the star, as the stars are moving, as the galaxies are working in their own manner. This body, mind, personality, which is a small speck in nature, it does its functions. That feeling, guna guneshu vattanta, that the three gunas are functioning in nature, they are also functioning through my body, mind, personality. There is another statement in 14th chapter, yes. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drashtanu pashyati. When the seer, our drashta, he doesn't see any karta other than the gunas. Normally what are we doing? The body, mind, personality is functioning, but we have posited an idea about ourselves, an egoistic I we have, which is different from the real Atma, as I explained yesterday. We have an image of an egoistic I, which we consider to be I. With that, our body, our look, our mind, our good, bad, everything is associated with that. That is our identity. Generally, we have created that identity. And I think that identity is doing everything. So we feel elated when something great is done. We feel sinful and depressed when something bad is done. So all these are related to that posited. Posited means that imagined identity we create, egoistic identity. He says that when we see, we don't see any such karta. Karta means doer, other than the gunas. That means as in Prakriti we are seeing the different forces functioning, like that in the body, mind, personality also, all the three gunas are functioning through the body, through the mind, through the emotions, through the intelligence, through the willpower. Those gunas are functioning. So it is absolutely a phenomenological, I would say a real scientific vision, where like the whole nature, this body, mind, personality is also a creation of nature. As the whole nature is functioning, as the plants are growing, the flowers are blossoming, like that this body, mind, personality is also functioning in its own manner. It is all a play of the gunas. There is no different, another segregated karta that I am doing, Do you get it? So, Nanyam gunebhya kartaram. Gunebhya anyam kartaram yada drashta na anubashyati. Other than the guna, any other karta, doer, when the drashta means we do not find. Then what happened? Gunebhyascha param vetti. Not only that, it doesn't stop there. He sees something beyond the gunas. What is beyond the gunas? As yesterday we explained in detail, the unchanging, unfragmented, the consciousness, where the whole universe is appearing to be. So he sees that as the real Atma. That has to be seen. That is, all the gunas are functioning, the whole nature is playing in that consciousness. I said the simplest way to understand it is that whatever we are seeing the world, whether it is gross outer world or subtle inner world, thoughts and emotions, unless they all appear in consciousness, will we know them? इसमें कोई डाउट है क्या? जब तक वो अपने चेतना में प्रकाशित नहीं होते हैं, तब तक हम कुछ जानते नहीं हैं। यहाँ कुछ भी बहुत कुछ हो सकता है, बहुत सारा भूत प्रेत सब खड़े हैं यहाँ, हम नहीं जानते हैं, वो हमारे चेतना में नहीं प्रकटित होते हैं। Whatever is, so actually what we are, all of you are appearing in my consciousness. I am knowing that appearance in the consciousness, and you are appearing as an external vision, and my own thoughts are appearing as an something internal to the body. But they all have to appear in the consciousness. This we have to know. Gunebhyascha param vetti. Where are they appearing? That consciousness which is unchanging, which does not undergo any change because of the guna activity. The whole prakriti is functioning in that consciousness. So the real renunciation is the renunciation of this egoistic identity, I. You can call it renunciation, you can call it dissolution of this I into the real identity, the universal consciousness. The small segregated identity I gets dissolved get fused with the real I. That is why it is called yoga. Yoga means fusion. The ultimate yoga is this fusion, that small created, posited, egoistic identity about ourself, that gets dissolved or gets fused in the universal I, the Brahman, the consciousness, whatever we may say, which never changes at all. So that is called sannyasa. That is why earlier in the chapter he said, sa sannyasi, yesterday I read out, you should not forget, make notes of it. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. One who is a sannyasi, he is a yogi. There both the meanings are the ultimate meaning. One who has samyak nyasa has been done, one who has renounced his ego, he automatically becomes yogi, because renunciation of ego means yogi, that the small I has got fused with the universal I. Yesterday we read out anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti ja sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. The person who is a yogi, real yogi, is a sannyasi also. If I go back always, then we will never progress in the chapter. But there is a temptation always to know things in a very wholesome manner. So here he says that Kavayaha, many of the erudite people, Panditas, they say that what is sannyasa? It is kamyanam karmanam nyasam. That is abandoning all the desireful actions, desire motivated actions. Whatever we are doing now mostly is all, are they not desire motivated action? We are given to always desire motivated action. So he said that when you abandon, when you renounce all the desire motivated action, that is called sannyasa. Now generally again what the Panditas are saying is the usual sannyasa, that you leave your job, you leave your other things, whatever you are doing motivated by the desire. The motivation is generally desire. But truly speaking, I am just reminding you again that it is not the desired motivated action that you have to renounce, but the desires you have to renounce. You know the difference. Not that we have to renounce the desire motivated actions, but we have to renounce the desires. Then all the actions you do, they will become desireless. They will no longer remain desire motivated action. Suppose, what are we doing in the ashram? Is it not the same as all of you are doing? Guests are coming, we are looking after them, going to the market, buying materials for before each function, arranging all the guest houses, everything, buckets and mugs, and which has to be brought, how many, so much of meeting, so many meetings are held, so many lists are prepared, where it is available, where it is at a cheaper price. It's all whatever is done, otherwise also. But only difference is it is not for any personal gain, personal satisfaction or anything. It has to be done. People are coming to the ashram, they have to be looked after, whatever to be done, they are doing. So when it is not desire motivated, the whole thing changes. In doing it, your mind gets sublimated. Whereas if it is a selfish action, that the mind becomes constricted through that. And you suffer also very much through that I did so much, but the person did not like, he said this, he said that. All these things, that all karma becomes bandhana because of that. All karma creates bondage Because of the desire. If the desire is not there, oh, he did not like it, okay. Why did he not like it? Oh, maybe we had done something wrong, next time we will set it right. But it will not cause any stress for you. Maybe in our analysis and all, in our buying, things have not gone all right. So we have to change something, that decision has to be taken, that's all. Oh, I did it and he got affected by that, he will not speak to me or he is not speaking to me. All these things will not come. They are all coming from the desires and the ego. So if that goes, in the wherever you are, you do go on doing that action, nothing is wrong. That is why Mahabharata has given the example of the Vyadha, Dharma Vyadha. He was cutting flesh and selling, but that was his work. But he was a great jnani. So the question is that taking away the desire and the selfishness, selfish motive, desire motive from there. It's not that there's nothing wrong with the action. Action are in nature, actions are happening like that. Only the desire has to be removed. So what the Panditas say, Krishna is not agreeing to that. He will not agree to that. He says that some people say that Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam. That is, when we leave all the desire motivated activity, that is called sannyasa. Yes, that is called sannyasa, but that is the usual formal sannyasa ashrama. Yesterday as we said. That is not the ultimate real sannyasa. And others like Prahuhu Vichakshanaha. There are some other very wise people. Vichakshana means those who are wise people. What do they say? They say Sarva Karma Phalatyagam is Tyagam. That is both sannyasa and tyaga he has defined, but not according to his own opinion. In his opinion, both are same. That he will say later. Now he is saying that people say this as sannyasa, and what is a tyaga? Sarva karma phalatyagam. Now I caution you, yesterday we discussed in great detail that karma phala cannot, the objective result of karma, of action, cannot be renounced. Objective result will follow. It is a definite, certain law of nature. Whatever you do, there will be an effect. Any action will have an effect. That objective part you cannot renounce at all. Bhagavad Gita karma phala, it means that the inner result, that is, by getting the result, I am happy, I am sorry, the mixture of the two, all those things. In 18.17 or so somewhere he has said, Ishtam 18.12. Anishtam ishtam mishram cha trividha karmanah phalam. That three kinds of result the action has. What is that? It is the desired result, it is the undesired result, or it is a mixture of the two somewhere in between. And that creates the, in our mind, that happiness or sorrow or depression or elation of all that. So that part you can renounce. You cannot renounce whatever has happened. The problem is that when we are doing some activity also, our focus gets shifted from the objective result to the subjective result. Are you able to understand? What is the objective result? Suppose we are putting the stamps and or writing something or making something, a tool we are making. Now, in making the tool, our focus should be on the objective result that the tool should be able to do its function. It should be properly made. It should not have any defect. But what happens is that our focus shifts from the objective result to by selling this tool I will get money and by that I will become rich and I will become happy. Or if I am not able to make that tool, suppose exams for the students. What is the action? That we are writing the exam. So our focus should be on writing it very well. And whatever I know, I should be able to express. The focus should be on the objective result of the writing the exam. But our focus shifts from the objective result to the subjective result, that if I fail, then what will happen? My father will send me away from the house. If I do not have it depends on the person. If he is holding a first rank also, He will say, if I don't get first rank and the other boy gets, then what will happen? So, it's all subjective. So, sarva karma phalatyagam means whatever you are doing, in all that, objective result will definitely come. Nobody is asking you to renounce that part. If you renounce, then why should you do that work? If you are not interested in the objective result, if you are not interested in reaching CIRD, why did you come out of your house and walk towards this? It is absolutely meaningless. The question is, even after coming to CIRD, if you find that there is no lecture or something, you should not get depressed by that. You came to listen to the lecture, but something happened. It did not take place. So we accept it, we go. But, or suppose something, it is not so interesting, but something else. I thought that the lecture will be very interesting, but Swamiji put us into sleep. It's absolutely meaningless. अरे मीनिंगलेस ठीक है, मीनिंगलेस तो क्या हुआ, जैसा है वैसे ही है. सो सर्वकर्म फल त्यागम विचक्षणाः त्यागम इति प्राहुः. द विचक्षणाः, द thoughtful people, the wise people, they say that that is the real tyaga. I will come back again after general meaning is given. Tyajyam doshavat iti eke manishinaha prahuhu. Eke means some manishis, some wise people. Manishi means people. Manit means buddhi. From there the manishi has come. That means those who are buddhiman, those who think well, wise, they. So, eke manishinaha prahuhu. What do they say? Doshavad iti karma tyajyam. All work has some defect. There will be defect in anything you do. All actions will have some defect. So, therefore, all actions to be rejected, to be renounced. You see, even in good act also, you do a very good thing, there will be some other adverse effect of that. You can think about it. Those who are come as student here, you write down some such, as a homework you do it. That any good action, there will be a negative tail behind that. That somebody will be happy by that, some others will be unhappy. Or any bad action also, some good effect will be there. You can think about it and find out, give some examples like that, where it is happening. So, finding that what is the dosha of karma, here actually they are not talking about usual dosha, but they are talking about all action will bind us. That is the dosha of the karma. That is, bondage created by the action is the dosha. That means, suppose you buy a very good car. It's a good karma, you have the money, you have bought it. Now, riding in the car, you get bound to that. Maybe you want a still better one, or suppose something happens, you have to sell off the car and you are not able to ride in it, then you will suffer. That, wo bahut acha tha, bahut comfortable tha, that was so comfortable, I am not able to ride now, go in auto or anything. So, there is a bondage created by anything we do, is it not?